It's match point in the Moto3 Junior World Championship as Danny Holgardo looks to wrap up the 2021 title on the biggest stage of them all as we race alongside the stars of MotoGP at the San Marino Grand Prix. 17 laps await us here at Misano. Yes, hello and welcome along to the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli and the penultimate round of FIM CEV Repsol this season. It's Jack Appleyard and Fran Wild here to talk you through the action as the title fight really starts to heat up. Danny Holgardo in the driving seat, but David Munoz is the form man coming into the only race of this weekend's action. And just to spice things up a little bit more, these guys are coming into the total unknown. 2 qualifying practice sessions took place yesterday, one in damp conditions, one in full wet conditions. 15 minutes worth of warm-up is the only dry track time they've had ahead of 17 laps of action. It's going to be a tough one to predict, Fran.
It is indeed, isn't it? It's going to be an exciting one, I think, and we're going to have a look at the path to where we are now as well, with, like you said, match point for Danny Holgardo this weekend.
It certainly is. He currently sits 42 points clear. 51 is the margin we need to keep our eyes on. That's how far he needs to be ahead to take the crown today, but he's going to have a tough job on his hands thanks to that man in picture there, the 64 of David Munoz. He was in fine form when we travelled to the Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto a couple of months ago, finishing second in the opening race and then taking victory in the second race. A near perfect performance sees him the closest challenger to Aspar's Holgardo ahead of the race this afternoon. This is what happened in the first race though, when Scott Ogden, the ultimate opportunist, swooping through for a debut victory. Big news coming this weekend for the Brit as well. He'll be making his Moto3 World Championship debut in 2022, as will the man that won race number 2, David Munoz, signed up to Bow Owl Ride in 2022. And he's in fine form, Fran, as I said. 2 wins, 1 second place in his past 3 races.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Like we said, the momentum as it stands at the moment coming in race terms is with Munoz, but obviously that gap at the top for Holgardo is fairly sizable, so he can afford to lay off a bit, but no one did that at Jerez last time out, and I'm sure today we'll get another absolute thriller as well.
The gloves are off in Jerez because it was the top 3 in the championship that went to war on the final lap. In the end, victory going the way of Munoz. But we come here to Misano and things have carried on as they were in Jerez because David Munoz still in fine form. You'll see him to the right of your picture there on pole position for the first time in his Junior World Championship career. As we said, a brand new 2022 fully fledged World Championship contract in his back pocket, and he'll start this one from pole.
Yeah, I had to kind of think about that when I saw that yesterday. First pole seems unlikely, but it is true. And yeah, so it's basically all he could have possibly done yesterday coming into this one. When it is a final stand, you can't do much better than to start the race from the absolute front, can you?
Yeah, he was the man who was probably bravest of the lot in that opening qualifying session because it was wet at the start, was drying out bit by bit, but from speaking to a few riders, even in those closing moments of the qualifying session, there were damp patches everywhere. So to have lapped round a 144.3 was pretty impressive from Munoz. Unfortunately as well, as you can see, the grid is sun-soaked, which means we shouldn't have any issues with rain.
Yeah, hopefully not. And I'm sure Joel Calso, being from down under, will be happy to see that sun, bit used to it. But yeah, it's lovely weather now, isn't it? It's really warmed up again after we had a bit of a grey patch around about the Moto3 guys.
Kelso's going to be a man to keep your eye on. He was half a second clear in warm-up this morning, and as we said, that has been the only full dry session that these guys have had. He's feeling confident coming into this one, and what better way to get motivated for a race. His team for 2022 CIP Green Power have said, Joel, if you win the race today, we'll give you a wild card in Portimao. So that's what he's fighting waiting for today.
Portimao as well. Couldn't be better turf, really, could it? So, it's going to be an interesting one. It's, a lot on the line there, isn't it? Hopefully, if he just has a great race at the front, that might convince them and be enough. But, great stuff from him, though, on that front row. And like you said, such incredible pace in warm-up. And then Ivan Ortala, another one who's coming to the Grand Prix paddock full-time.
He is with that team as well. The MTA KTM team will be moving up in 2022. In front of him on the grid, we've skipped past him, the man in the middle of the front row, David Alonso, of course, riding for the Aspar Junior team, and is the newly crowned Red Bull Rookies champion in 2021. It looks as though he'll be staying put in this championship, which is good news for us, because we like to keep the talent as long as possible. The Colombian will be staying with Aspar, it seems, in 2022. And another man who could well be World Championship bound. We're not sure just yet, but some rumours floating around.
Feel like I needed to add the dun dun dun.
I know, dramatic music, please. But Zonta van den Gorberg, fine form for him. That's a best ever qualifying position in his debut Moto3 Junior World Championship campaign. You can see Dad Jürgen van der Gorberg to the right of him, a name that will be familiar for a lot of you.
Yeah, impressive stuff from the Dutchman on the grid today, like we said, on those front two rows, and a few places ahead of our championship leader, Donny Holgardo, as well. So, yeah, great stuff from him. It's a really interesting grid, I think, like you said, with that weather affecting most of the practice time, barring warm-up, and now these perfect sun rays just bathing us in the commentary box as well. It's going to be an interesting one with such limited running and on such new turf for them as well.
This is your front row of the grid then, from right to left. Joel Kelso starting third, David Alonso starting second, and it's Munoz on pole for the first time.
Here we go then, this starting grid. We've got David Munoz, Alonso, Kelso, with Takuma Matsuyama, Ivan Ortala, Van den Gorberg, like we said, on those front two rows. Then we've got Josito Garcia, Moreira and Holgardo locking out those front three crucial sometimes rows. And then completing the top 10, we've got Cruces, then Ogden. I'm sure he'll be looking to move forward, as will Mario Aggi from 12th. Then we've got Daniel Munoz, David Salvador, Tapia, Agius, Watley. I'm sure he'll want more as well after the news that he'll be joining Ogden in Moto3 next year as well. And then I've lost a row there, but Lunetta, Asman, Boisri, Riamale, Fire, Farioli, Carraro, Nishimura and Rueda. And then we've got a few more to go as well. That's down to 27th. And then Volpi, Giombini, Detweiler, O'Shea, Rosenthaler, Morosi and Ruder at the back there. So I think it was, who did we miss out there? No, we didn't at all. It just went very quickly.
That's everybody, I think.
It is 30. Indeed. I thought I'd missed a row there when the graphic changed, but no, it's a very full grid as ever for the FIM Moto3 Junior World Championship, and a grid packed with talent as well, looking to make their way through on the road to MotoGP.
Have we got a problem for the man on pole position? The 64 of David Munoz came across the line and instantly put his left hand up in the air there. Let's just see if we can track him around this warm-up lap. It wasn't as if he was moving to one side. He put his left hand up in the air.
He's got moving at least, but
one to keep our eye on anyway. I thought, goodness gracious me, surely we're not going to get drama like that.
Ultimate
on the
dramatic start
lap.
there, yes.
We'll track him all the way round. So far, it looks as though maybe he was just warning the other riders he was moving to one side, and I'm getting overly excited.
Warning all the other riders, guys, I'm just going to beat you, just so you're aware.
But as soon as he put his hand up like that...
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? Good eye to have seen that as well. I'm a little bit sun-blinded at the moment until we lose that a couple of inches lower in the sky. But yeah, so it looks like he's away okay at the moment, though. Can't see anyone going too slowly out there on track. And there you can say partly cloudy is a bit of an overstatement, I'm going to be honest. It's pretty sunny now here at Misano. Lovely conditions on the Adriatic. Stunning with the colours of this track as well. So much colour around in the runoffs. It looks great in the sunshine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one a lot.
Let's bring you up to speed with the championship picture then before this race gets underway. Holgardo, 42 points clear of Munoz. That lead needs to be 51 at the end of today's racing for him to be crowned champion. He also, as well as gaining 9 points on Munoz, needs to lose no more than 13 points to Ivan Ortola. So, as you can imagine, it's quite complicated. I've got my abacus out. I'll be
ready
trying
for the maths.
Yeah, I'm going to try and keep across it as we go through the race. But pretty much an easy-ish way to look at it. If Holgardo wins the race, then Munoz has to finish second. If he finishes third, that is 9 points. Job done. Thank you very much. We'll get the trophy out and Holgardo will go home a happy, happy boy.
Yeah, and we've already seen Munoz with his elbows out when the title's been on the line in the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup as well, elsewhere on the road to MotoGP. So we know he will put up a fight in this final stand if he can. And it looks like he's made it back to pole position then with no dramas. So good stuff. And it looks like we're almost ready to go.
Keep your eye on the 96. He starts from 9th on the grid, does the championship leader Danny Holgardo. We wait for Joel Kelso, the Australian. You should keep your eye on him as well. As we said, half a second clear in warm-up this morning. These guys are going into the unknown. Only 15 minutes of warm-up. Anything is possible here. We'll wait for the lights to come on in the top left-hand corner of your picture. Munoz will wait and then fire away from pole position here in Misano. It looks to be a good start from the 64. He comes across and there's contact with Kelso already. Well, I'm not sure he was supposed to be doing something like that from pole position, straight across the front end of the Australian, but he's not bothered. One shot, he takes the whole shot, does Kelso, and Munoz, I think there he is, slots into third, but we've got a couple down in the background.
We have indeed, so you can see in the background then riders look okay, so that's the main thing. Not sure exactly who that was that's gone down, but yeah, that was drama off the start line, wasn't it? It's not Formula One, lads, you can't quite do that when you're on bikes, but yeah, Joel Kelso coming out of it on top, and great start for the Australian then, leading this race.
Oh no, that looks like it's Eddie O'Shea that's gone down, the 67 of Gerard Rio, another one of those guys caught up in the opening corner incident as Ortola looks up the inside, no way through, still Kelso leading the way, and I wouldn't be surprised if the stewards have a quick look at that one from Munoz off the starting grid. As you say, Fran, we know from his Red Bull Rookies action and in the Junior World Championship as well, he can be erratic at times, but for me that was just over the mark there.
Very possibly, yeah, it was pretty aggressive from the number 64, so we'll see what comes of that, but like you say, he has slotted into third, but look who's shadowing him already. Danny Holgardo then making some good hay in the early laps and up into fourth place, but it's quite a bit of a gap that Ortola and Kelso have got in the lead already early on here.
They're flying here, are both Kelso and Ortola. What's that? It could be half a second, maybe even a second as they come across the line. Holgardo, Munoz and the guys behind will be quickly getting quite worried at the look at the state of that.
Yeah, it's already just about enough to breathe a little sigh of relief, if not a full deep breath. But yeah, great stuff then from the Australian to recover from what was probably quite a surprising quick bit of contact off the line. And yeah, those two then already off like scolded cats, so to speak. But it's Munoz still in third at the moment, although Holgardo already looks to be searching for a way through there.
Still yellow flags out here, as you can see. Oh, unfortunately, one of the riders just been stretched away.
Yeah, so no overtaking. Sorry, that was optimistic of me to think Holgardo was going to go for it there.
No, and fingers crossed everything is okay there. We'll hopefully bring you news on who that is as soon as we've got it.
Not sure. We saw the first two riders up on their feet, yeah. I thought. So yeah, hopefully we'll get an update on that then as soon as we have one. But at the moment then, there's a few riders that have made some good gains there. You can see Holgardo up 5 positions at the moment. Is it soon to become 4? He's looking for a way through. Yep, so championship leader up into a provisional podium position at the moment. Oh, it's getting tight there.
Josito Garcia scraping his boot along the floor.
Absolutely. And the Mario Aggi as well is the other I was going to say. Made some good gains, has the Malaysian, and now under attack though. So it's very close between these two then. I'm sure it will go all the way to the wire and David Munoz will throw everything at it. But for the moment, Holgardo in exactly the position he'd want to be. Nice gains off the start. Calm few laps for the number 96 and slotted in to fight for the podium early doors.
It looks like the other rider that went down is teammate Ivan Ortola, the Austrian Jacob Rossenthaler. So hopefully he is okay, can make a speedy recovery after that one. At the front though, 15.5 laps remaining, and Kelso is setting a fairly strong pace here because the elastic between the guys second to third, third to fourth, and on we can go, is stretching. Not a lot of people are able to live with the pace.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see then now Mario Aggi making big gains on Junior a talent team teammate, certainly, Takuma Matsuyama. But the Astra Honda man looks like he's already looking for a way through on the Japanese rider. Could be an interesting one. Aji has raced here in the rookies. So, yeah, obviously the number 16 still looking for that debut podium this season. But he's been so close. I think it was thousandths all the way back at the start of the season in Portugal. But, yeah, some good pace from Aji so far to have moved up from a little bit more of a difficult qualifying than he probably expected.
Fastest man on track, the World Championship leader, Danny Holgardo. He's got in front of David Munoz as well, and he's closing in on Ivan Ortola. Oh, that's Scott Ogden that's gone down, and he's not happy about something as well. Clearly, there's a coming together with another rider. What a shame for the Brit. It's been such a great weekend for him after announcing his move to the World Championship full-time next year, but that is a disappointing end for Scott Ogden.
Yeah, most definitely. So we can see, obviously, the Brit is okay. Looked like he was gesturing at someone, which would suggest there was someone else involved, if not off the track with him at the time. But we'll see if we get an update on what happened there. But Ogden, mad, but at least perfectly okay and up on his feet. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? After that news this weekend, you can see pretty despondent and angry about that one.
Here we go. Let's see what's happened. There's Ogden. Oh, and it's Munoz that's gone with him as well. The teammate to David Munoz, Danny Munoz, has collected him, and through no fault of his own, Scott Ogden is out of that one. You can understand from watching that why he's so frustrated.
Unfortunately, obviously, crash for Danny Munoz, just takes the Brit with him. Unfortunate, super bad luck for him. Nothing much Danny Munoz can do about it once it starts to go, but maybe that move wasn't quite as on as it had seemed, so understandable frustration from Ogden.
And of course, even more frustration because he's fighting for fourth in the championship as well.
He
Currently fourth, only 4 points clear of Jose Antonio Rueda, who finds himself 13th at the moment. So as things stand, he'll just hold on, or at least be ahead of Rueda, but Alonso isn't too far back as well, and he's currently 8th, so we'll have to wait and see, but it's certainly not helping his charge to finish in the top 5 of this championship.
No, for sure, and not sure exactly what's happened. Just obviously this first group now is all kind of gathering back together again at the front, but it looks like Takuma Matsuyama's lost quite a few places there now. The Japanese rider down into 9th place. I'm not sure if we saw it, and it's Aji now leading the chase, as you can see on the graphics, about 1.5 seconds just over back to the Indonesian. So I think I called him Malaysian earlier, didn't I? Apologies. But Aji in 5th place then, so he's still in those front-running positions, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge to bridge that gap now. Look how far clear they are.
We'll keep our eye on the gap between Munoz's rear wheel and the front wheel of Mario Aji, or Josito Garcia, as we should say now. It looks as though he's managed to get in front.
That duel won't help them either, will it?
Not at all. They need to be working together here. It's already 2.5 seconds. That's just going to go up and up, you imagine, especially if they continue fighting, because the worst news for them is that these 4 out front are working as a quartet at the moment. They're not getting in each other's way. Kelso's pace is that strong that why on earth would Ortola, Holgardo or Munoz try and disrupt it?
Yeah, exactly. So these guys at the moment, it's pretty calm. That's not to say it's easy to do this space around Misano, but it's pretty calm in the front 4 at the moment. So yeah, it's a good race for those guys at the moment to also make that space for themselves so they can kind of fight it out and decide the podium without some last minute charges from behind. And at the moment, it certainly seems like they're going to keep that upper hand because, like you say, that gap keeps going up. But we do have a long lap penalty though given there on the bottom of the screen.
Filippo Farioli, the Italian, has been handed a long lap penalty. He's currently outside of the top 20, so he's not having a good day anyway, and that's not going to particularly help it. Back at the front now, still Kelso leading the way, and it's a comfortable lead he's got there as well, 2 or 3 bike lengths. I think they're struggling to stay with him, you know, because otherwise they'd be right on his tail.
Yeah, it's not Moto3 style to sit and wait, is it? So many of them optimistically do tap that seat unit saying follow me, but no one ever really listens. But at the moment, yeah, it certainly looks like the number 66 has just got a little bit more in hand, or at least has got enough pace to make sure these guys have to really concentrate on pushing to stay with him rather than trying to attack each other or him.
And of course, we can't forget that these guys 2nd, 3rd and 4th are the key championship contenders as well. So there's a little bit more at stake for those guys than there is for Joel Kelso. He's not bothered. He's not bothered. Well, we say that, but of course, he has got that wild card on the line. But in terms of getting in these guys' way, he's not bothered at all. His job is to go out, win the race, and if he's to take points away from anyone else, he's not bothered because his allegiances don't lie with anyone. Holgardo goes down. The championship leader crashes out. What drama here in Misano. Out of nothing, the rear wheel gives way, and Danny Holgardo has blown this championship wide open.
Well, that is incredible then. He's been so solid all season, the number 96, Danny Holgardo, but he is down and out of this group. And he was ahead, wasn't he? So Munoz is already going to know that that's what's happened. So you can see Ryder perfectly okay, but such drama then. Just sliding out from in front of the number 64.
Such a strange crash.
It is.
So few people go down at turn 15, especially in that manner. It was so early. And the important thing to note as well is Munoz has seen it. He knows that his title rival is out of this race.
Yeah, that's absolutely, and just suddenly out of nowhere as well. Such massive drama then. But Ryder okay, always the main thing, but I'm sure he'll be, well, emotionally a little more bothered by that. That's going to take some reset to come back from that, I think, for the number 96.
He's not made a mistake all year,
yeah,
Fran.
almost perfect in everything he's raced this season.
He's not finished out of the top 5 in the Junior World Championship once all year. His worst result is 5th. He's only been off the podium twice, so to see him make a mistake like that is a huge shock. But as we say, this championship is now totally up for grabs. 50 points available at the final round in Valencia. And if Munoz can win this one, and I know it's a big if, suddenly the difference between the pair will be 17 points. Yeah. It's up for grabs.
I think the number 64 is preparing the kitchen sink to throw at the guys ahead of him a little bit earlier than he'd maybe thought about when he had Holgardo here as well. But yeah, these two guys, obviously, like we said, the key players in contention as well. Kelso, though, like we said, he does have a few personal things on the line there in terms of that wild card, but he just wants to win this race. It's going to be an interesting one now, isn't it? And like we said, they're going to know that Holgardo's out of this and they can kind of fight it out amongst themselves now, but that gap back to the second group now absolutely huge, and it's Van den Gorberg who's leading it. Really impressive stuff from him.
Yeah, big shout out for Zonder Van den Gorberg, of course. Picked up a hat-trick of wins in the European Talent Cup at Aragon last year. It's been a difficult start to life in the Junior World Championship for him, but he's been improving race by race. A best result so far of 9th, so he can finish 4th. That is an incredible ride from the young Dutchman.
Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it, as well, because qualifying, like we said, bit of a different one here, but still very much keeping that speed and impressive form in the race. So very good stuff from the number 84. But yeah, then there were 3 then. This is an intriguing one now, and they seem to have just caught up a little bit on Kelso as well, although the Australian looking very solid in that race lead. No dramas from him at all. Since that first little wee touch off the line, he's been pretty much pitch perfect, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Absolutely brilliant so far. But there's a long way to go in this one. 10.5 laps remaining as we see a solemn Danny Holgardo make his way back to the paddock. Here's a replay. Here's what happened. You can see it's so early. Boom, it looks as though the rear just comes round on him. I can't believe that.
Yeah,
that's such a strange
one,
crash. And look at this as well. The scream, the smack of the gravel track, and then the roar of frustration.
Yeah, obviously not what you want when you do have that first match point. But at least Ryder, it's hard for them to have the perspective of this, isn't it? But for us watching, at least we're glad there's no dramas for him, and he'll be fighting fit for that final round in Valencia, like you say. But at the moment then, I think I spoke too soon. A little bit more daylight there behind Kelso for sure. And also a track limits warning there you can see from race direction for Daniel Munoz. So not the Munoz in the front group who's on to try and break Danny Holgardo's heart even more today.
Yeah, Danny Munoz, the one that crashed out with Scott Ogden earlier. I was surprised to see him, but he has rejoined. Okay. he's down in 28th place. So I don't
something in my brain twitched when I saw it, and I was like, why though? But yeah, okay, so good news that he managed to rejoin at least, but track limits warning, I'm sure not what he wanted to see at the moment, but I'm sure he's pushing very hard to try and make up some ground.
Of course, the final round of the year in Valencia in 2 months' time. That is a very long time for Danny Holgardo,
isn't it?
to sit and stew over that error It's going to be a difficult couple of months for him, but I'm sure he's got good people around him. The Aspar squad, of course, have been there, done that many times before. They've rode the highs, they've endured the lows as well, so they know how to deal with this kind of disappointment. But he's still right in the fight, of course. He's got a commanding
he's still got the
championship
lead. He's got still. I can't say it the right way around. Still got a very sizable lead. You know, that would be what most people would consider a real big advantage heading into the final round, even before that drama today for the Spaniard. So it's not a disaster, but it is a while to wait to put it to rights in Valencia if he can come out swinging there at the final round. But we're watching these guys then. It's all quite calm and collected, if very fast at the front. But it looks like there's some real spicy moves going on in that second group, with the graphics keep moving and moving.
It's as you were at the front, as you say, though, Fran. Kelso still leading the way and still has that 2 or 3 bike length advantage over Ortola, keeping his powder dry at the moment, as is Munoz as well. He knows that he can't afford to make a mistake. What an opportunity this is for him, as the front end bobbled there on his way through turn 3. That was a fairly big moment for the 64, but he manages to keep it in check as he then flick right and then go left onto the back straight through turn 6.
Yep, exactly. But I don't know. It's hard to tell at this stage in the race, of course, but Kelso so far, I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to catch him and pass him at this rate, especially because Munoz now is starting to look a little bit more impatient. Just that body language, just can we keep up, please? So we'll have to see then if I was going to say the Spaniard, they are both indeed Spaniards behind our race leader. But yeah, if the number 64 then starts to see that gap grow, does he have any more in the locker to get past Ivan Ortola? All will be revealed soon enough, I think, because yeah, those bike lengths, there's just a good few of them in there for the number 66 out front, and they've got that huge gap now back to this group.
Look at that. That's a fair old freight train.
It is good, isn't it? Good stuff for these guys. Really close race here. And it's still these three then at the head of that group at the moment. That's Indonesian Aji going around the outside there, making it look very casual. With Van der Gorbig still very impressive, the Dutchman, the number 84 at the front of this group. And Josito Garcia as well, on home turf for his SIC 58 team, of course, as well.
That was a great move by Aji, rolling around the outside of Garcia.
So smooth, made it look so easy.
Especially at turn 12 as well. Those fast 3 right-handers, when I say fast, I mean fast. They're pretty rapid. Is the Cavone, and then 12 and 13 as well. So for him to pull off a move like that, impressive stuff from Aji as he looks at the inside of Van den Gobbe, but no way through for the Indonesian. Not at turn 1, I thought he was going at turn 2, but again, the door slammed shut by the Dutchman.
Yes, very much so, but really impressive ride. I don't think we can really say enough. If you are joining us for the first time, or you've not quite kept on top of every single FIM CEV Repsol round this season, don't worry, you can go back and catch up. They're on YouTube in most territories, or on your broadcaster as well. But yeah, really great ride from the Dutchman, isn't it? Really impressive stuff from that qualifying, and to do it again in the dry on race day with the sun shining is really great. But Kelso as well, that gap is growing, is it not? It
is. He's riding extremely well, is Kelso. These three men all bound.
You want that wild card.
He does. He definitely does. They're all bound for the World Championship in 2022, and you can see why as well. 8.5 seconds clear of the battle for 4th place. These three have been a class above here in Misano so far, but with 7.5 laps remaining, although Kelso's the favourite and he's led every lap so far, we've watched FIM Junior World Championship racing before. We know not to make any bold predictions at this point.
Yeah, it can all change so quickly for these guys, but at the moment there's no dramas at all. But yeah, we have a long way to go still, like 8 laps including this one, so plenty of time if there is a little bit more in the locker for Ivan Ortola and David Munoz. But yeah, it's just looking fairly comfortable for the Australian out front at the moment. Well, it's looking a little bit less comfortable down in the second group there. You can see Takuma Matsuyama now down into 13th. Josh Watley's made progress up to 14th, and David Alonso, fresh from taking the rookie's crown, he's down in 15th place at the moment.
Well, has Kelso pulled the pin here? He's just set the fastest lap of the race of 1:43.4. His advantage 0.4 of a second. It's just creeping up and up and up, and I'm sure the alarm bells are starting to ring in the minds of Ortola and Munoz here.
Yeah, and you can see there their new best race lap. To be fair, the fastest lap of this race will be the base. Well, I can't speak today. Will be the race lap record anyway. And we've got another exceeding track limits infraction then, this time for Carraro, so it's been too many times and it's a long lap then for the Italian, so that must be frustrating stuff, but hopefully we'll be able to kind of slot back into the pack, given that there's such a big freight train here. At least might be able to get back into the action and still fight for something.
Still Josito Garcia leading the way in this battle for 4th place. Here comes Mario Aggi though, Super Mario up the inside, is he? No, it looks as though there was no way through.
The Indonesian finds it easy around the outside apparently.
He does, round the outside, round the outside, as often as he possibly can do, with Van der Gorberg still there in 6th now as well. Great ride coming from Luca Lanetta as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
We've not seen him at the front as he goes high, wide and handsome there. Where on earth is he off to? Yeah,
that was a bit of a commentary curse there, wasn't it? Sorry, Luca, but yeah, good stuff from him. And from Colin Fire as well. Good stuff from the number 8, who's now, moving up there then, as that shuffled everyone around a little bit. Not sure if Carrara's just lost a position there or if he has headed off for that long lap penalty. We'll find out soon enough, because I'm not sure if it's already been out or if we got the graphic before they did.
I'm not sure if Kelso has made a mistake on that lap or whether he's cooked that rear tyre, because through the first sector he was 0.5 of a second clear. As they came across the line, it was less than a tenth. Both Ortola and Munoz have pulled back half a second on that lap, and with 5.5 laps to go, we thought Kelso was just going to slowly but surely edge his way towards victory. It looks the total opposite now. We've got a 6-wheeler at the front.
We have indeed. So yeah, must have been surely a little bit of a moment. Oh no, we've got another crash then a little bit further down the field. Who is that that's gone down? Can't quite tell from that with the marshals.
It's one of the Leglise Academy Husqvarna guys, and it is Filippo Farioli, the Italian, that's gone down, unfortunately.
So yeah, sad times then for the number 7. Hopefully he is okay. Marshall's there to help him out after that. But yeah, it's a pretty dramatic race so far already, isn't it? Not least of all, if you are tuning in now with that crash for championship leader Danny Holgardo. Rider perfectly okay, if extremely mad. But yeah, it's blown it wide open now, and these 3 look to seriously capitalise. But yeah, Kelso then, he really, I don't know if it was a mistake. He's not managed to find any more in the locker, has he, since? Because they're right on him again.
Well, I think something must have happened. We were focusing on the fight for 4th place, and suddenly, in the blink of an eye, he's gone from half a second clear to Ortola being all over his rear wheel. I did think he was going to have a look through Cavone there, but in the end, thought better of it. As we come across the line momentarily, there'll be just 5 laps remaining here at Misano. And is Kelso just starting to fade here? Are Ortola and Munoz growing into this one? Let's not forget that out of these front 3, Kelso and Munoz have race-winning experience. Ortola, despite being 3rd in the championship, is still gunning for his 1st.
Yeah, that's an interesting point as well, for sure. But the Australian is one of them, though, like you say, who knows how to win already. And yeah, I don't know. It's intriguing now, isn't it? It really did look to me like I was expecting maybe he'd just be able to keep that and maybe just edge away a little bit, with those guys having largely left him alone in the lead for quite some time. But it's smart riding from all 3 of them, though, to have really cut that group down. You can see that big look over his shoulder.
If ever there's a sign of panic, I think that's right it. Down the back straight, looking over your shoulder. Only half a lap ago, he went across the start-finish straight and we'll have seen +0 on his pit board. So what else is he looking to try and work out there? Clearly, maybe there's not enough information on his pit board, because if I was doing it, you'd say +0, Group 3. So he knows he's got 2 riders behind him. Otherwise, why on earth is he looking over his shoulder?
Jappel's pitboard tips, come and see into a YouTube channel near you. It's very true though, yeah, we often see it a lot in the kind of junior categories, don't we? So many riders keen to look over the shoulder and have a wee shufty at who's in their postcode, but they're really close together now. You can see Ortola already starting to look a bit impatient and looking for a way through on the number 66.
Yeah, Ortola has got some pace through both Cavone and then into turn 12 as well, but it looks as though Kelso can just let off the brakes and roll through 13 quite well, and that could be crucial coming into the final sector as well. If he can just give himself a couple of bike lengths before they get to turn 14, the hairpin, which is going to be a huge overtaking opportunity, then that'll put him in good stead. Meanwhile, Munoz, he has a look around the outside, sits up from behind the bubble, so maybe he's quite happy just sat there in 3rd with now 4 laps left.
Yeah, that was a pretty weird sight, wasn't it? It looked so casual, David Munoz, when he was sitting up there. But yeah, I think we've Noah Detweiler kept crashed out. We saw that on the graphic a minute ago. Sadly for the Swiss rider, hope he is okay. But yeah, these guys at the front then sitting up, interesting, very interesting from David Munoz, because we saw none of that on previous occasions when he could have chosen to get his elbows out. He very much did.
Long lap penalties we saw there for Nicola Carraro. He's in that fight for 4th place, 8th at the moment. And finally, one for Danny Munoz as well, having crashed out earlier with Scott Ogden.
Yeah,
he then got
insult to
a
injury
track
there,
limits warning and now a long lap penalty. Meanwhile, here is this fight for 4th place, currently led by the number 9 of Colin Vire, the Dutchman, having a great ride to make his way through to 4th. But he's done this before at the opening round of the season later in Valencia. He went from 31st on the grid to pick up his best finish of the year in 7th. So he does like a charge through the field, does the number 9 of Vire.
Yeah, very much so. It's got a frog in my throat there. Yeah, very much so. We saw Zonta van der Gorberg there under attack as well. So 2 fast Dutchmen in that group at the moment. But yeah, good stuff from Vire. Mario Aggi very much in there. Josito Garcia, as ever, pretty fast is the Spaniard and fighting it out still. Luca Lunetta still in that group. I was just going to say, Carraro is still exactly where he was when he had received that long lap. So has he done it? And unfortunately, he has not. So now he's got to head round again.
Another lap ticks by and it's still as you were. Kelso, Ortola, Munoz. Only 3 laps are now left. If these guys are going to make a move, they need to start doing it fairly sharpish.
They do indeed.
Moment for Kelso. Big moment for the number 66. He was almost sent to the moon there, but he somehow holds on. And now we've got our first move of the race. Munoz dive through and Ortola, and Kelso goes wide. Kelso goes wide and he's handed the lead over to David Munoz. And the Spaniard, in the blink of an eye, goes from 3rd to 1st.
He does indeed. So that moment then must have just unsettled him a little bit more. And then Joel Kelso, after leading so much of this, in fact all of this race up to this point, now down in 3rd place, and we've got a real duel already for the lead again as Ortola fights back. So the number 24 back ahead then. Kelso seems to have gathered it up now, but we'll have to see what he's got left in the locker, because these two now elbows out for 3 laps to go.
2.5 laps to go, and this one has sparked into life. Kelso led across the line, then Munoz took the lead. Now Ortola takes the lead. Kelso has a look over his shoulder. It's just you 3 guys that are going to go to the wire here.
There's nobody there. No need to look now. Just concentrate on the group fight at the front, and it's already getting pretty feisty then between Ortola and Munoz, with so much at stake for these two now. Holgardo's not in this one.
Ortola through turn 14 of Caro, looks okay, runs a little bit wide. Munoz has a good look to his left, and Kelso comes up with something from out of nowhere. What a move from the Australian at turn 15, and he's looking to recover a few places after that mistake earlier in the lap.
Yeah, definitely. I think that caught Munoz a little bit by surprise there, but nice move from Kelso to move back into 2nd then. So it looks like he's going to fight this out to the wire then, and he's managed to recover from that moment and then running wide. But it's Ortola advantage at the front now, and let's see what the number 24's got. Can he keep it to the line? Can he take that first win?
It's double Dutch delight at the moment with Vire and Van den Gorberg 4th and 5th. Meanwhile, at the front, still Ortola leading the way as they flick right through turn 5, now into turn 6, no way through there. But both Kelso and Munoz will tuck behind the bubble here and look to try and drag the way past Ortola at the front. Here comes Kelso. He's alongside him already. We're going to be 3 abreast as we make our way down to turn 8 of Quercia, but it's Ortola that somehow holds off.
Yeah, he does indeed. So keeping that race lead. He is pretty tall, isn't he, Ivan Ortola? So that's something to consider whenever you're tucking it. Munoz, though, still sat up there and just looking very casual at times, kind of waiting for his moment to strike today. Bit of a different MO from the number 64.
Let's not forget that Kelso and Munoz have already clashed once at the very start of this race. Munoz from pole position drifted across to the right-hand side and collided with Kelso. Thankfully, we've had no such problem since, as here comes Kelso. That's a brave move, but he gets it done. Brilliant from the Australian at Cavone of all places, and the Aussie's back at the top.
He is indeed. So that was nicely done, wasn't it? So back into the race lead then, the number 66, who'd led the majority of this one until a bit of a wobble, and then he headed wide and let the guys behind him through into that race lead. But back ahead of the game then. Has he got it? has he got that little margin that he had earlier to the end of this one now? Interesting that he does want to take the lead again, but it's a great high-speed chess match so far. We've not had too many dramas from these three.
Here we go then, last lap time in Misano. Kelso leading the way from Ortola and Munoz, as it has been for a very, very long time in this race. Have either of the Spaniards in second or third got an answer to this one as we head towards turns 4 and 5? At the moment, no reply from either of them. They'll quickly flick left for turn 6. Ortola, remember, last time around was so strong on the brakes into turn 8 of Quechua, but he looks a long way adrift here.
He does indeed. This is going to be an interesting one. Has Kelso got that in hand? No, they're back on him a little bit again. The Australian just foot dangling out there, but he's kept the race lead this far round the lap. Can he keep it to the line?
They're at the limit here. Ortola had a twitch under braking, as did Munoz as well, but they both stay on. Munoz has drifted out of contention, I think, here. Half a lap to go, and he's a long way adrift. He makes a mistake, he goes wide, but Kelso does as well, and Ortola pounces. The 24 hits the front here with half a lap to go.
Yeah, incredible drama then. Both of those two guys going wide at the same time, and Ortola is through, but it looks like Kelso is ready to strike back again. The number 66, surely he's going to go
around
for
the
it.
outside, fantastic from Kelso. What a move. He's got to keep it in track limits, and he does. Into turn 14. He's got to hit his braking marker. He's got to hit the apex. He gets it done. Only 2 remain for Joel Kelso. Into turn 15. What a move that was around the outside at turn 12. Hard onto the brakes one last time for the final corner, and surely if he can get it out of here, Joel Kelso will win his second race in the Junior World Championship, and in some style too. Ortola takes second, and it's championship on for David Munoz as he takes third place. Who's going to win the battle for fourth? It's Colin Vire. The Dutchman takes it just ahead of Josito Garcia, Luca Lunetta and Van den Gorberg. What a race, and what a move from Joel Kelso. Ortola went defensive and he didn't care. He just rolled around the outside and got the job done. Brilliant from the 66, and of course, you know what that means. He's got himself a wild card at Portimao in about a month and a half's time as well, so it's double delight for the Australian. An important second place for Ortola. He just about keeps himself in championship contention. He'll move on to 133 points, so he's not 50 adrift of Holgardo after his DNF, so there is still a faint hope for him. But there's an even bigger hope for David Munoz as well. He'll move on to 150 points thanks to that third place finish, meaning the top 2 in the championship are split by only 26 points with 2 races left at Valencia in 2 months' time. Reason for a big wheelie? I think so, yes. The 64 pops one and celebrates another podium finish, continuing his run of being on the podium in the past 4 races. Naranjito will be celebrating tonight though. A big wheelie down the back straight for the 66. Side by side with Munoz. The pair clashed on the opening lap of the race, but they're friends now, popping a wheelie side by side. Reason to celebrate for both. And there's reason to celebrate as well for Colin Vire as well, the young Dutchman, as we said, clinched fourth. That is a career best finish in the Junior World Championship for the number 9. And I tell you what, he had to work for it as well. He's come through from a long way back on the grid. Row 8, 23rd he started, coming through to 4th. That could be the performance of the day from the number 9 of Colin Vire. Further down, Luca Lunetta taking 6th, Van den Gorberg 7th, Mario Adji, having led that group, battling for 4th for a long time, ends up 8th with David Salvador 9th, and a top 10 finish for Josh Watley as well. Let's take a look at this race winning move though. Ortola went defensive and Kelso just rolled around the outside. He made it look so easy, but that is such a difficult move, and kept it in track limits as well. Quite brilliant from the Australian. Held it together in the final sector to make sure it's win number 2 in 2021 for the Aussie. Big stand-up wheelie for Munoz as well. He saw Holgardo go down earlier in the race. It's championship on for him, but the headlines will go the way of Naranjito. Joel Kelso victorious here in Misano. And he celebrates with the AGR team as well. A great performance from Kelso. Took the lead on the opening lap. A couple of mistakes out there, but the most important thing is he refound his form, he refound his groove and battled back on every occasion to eventually take victory on that final lap. We'll be hearing from him shortly. Fran's made away to Parc Fermé. In fact, you can see her in the back of the picture there. She'll be heading into Parc Fermé to hear from our race winner. And we mentioned Josh Watley there inside the top 10. That's a good performance from the young Brit. He'll be extremely pleased with that one. Only his third top 10 finish of the season. And a nice bit of confidence, I'm sure, before he heads on to the World Championship next year as well with the Vision Track Honda squad. It's also a good performance from Zonta van den Gorberg, 7th in the end. 9 points to take away for van den Gorberg, which is a career best finish for him. Ivan Ortola, meanwhile, that victory wait still goes on. But another classy ride from Ortola. 2nd in the end. He threw the kitchen sink at Kelso, but there was no way through. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that, though. A 5th podium finish of the season, and keeps himself, importantly, as we say, in championship contention as well. 43 points adrift, so he's going to need a minor miracle, but at least over the next 2 months of sitting and waiting, he can pray every night hoping that that miracle comes true. There's Fran, she's getting into position. It's a fair old distance from the commentary box to the Parc Fermé as well, so she's done a very good impression of Mo Farah to be able to get there in speedy time. So let's hear from the race winner then. AGR Team's Joel Kelso taking victory, only his 2nd in the Junior World Championship. He had to fight for it as well, Fran.
He did indeed. So Joel, that was a pretty incredible race. You led for much of it, then had a couple of moments, but able to fight back on the top step here in the FIM CEV Repsol. And we hear there was quite a lot at stake for you as well. So great victory, congratulations.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it was an amazing race. It was so difficult. I led from the beginning, and I kind of tried to slow down the pace a little bit to see if they would pass me, so I could, you know, learn from them and see what's going to happen on the last lap, just in case they pass me. And then they managed to pass me for about a lap, and then the pace slowed down a lot, and I didn't know about the group behind, so I thought we had to go back to the front. And when I tried to, I had a big moment. And then on the last lap also, I ran a bit wide, pushing. Yeah, I was just on the limit, you know. I didn't want to lose this race. I dedicated so much to it, and yeah, I mean, it was a massive weekend for us, you know. Now stepping into World Championship, I wanted to keep finishing this year as strong as possible, and yeah, just to be on the top step again is amazing. I can't thank everyone enough. My family at home, I just want to say a massive thank you to them.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The Australian flag waves here in Misano. Victory for Joel Kelso, and here's how he did it as well. Coming into the final corner, hard on the brakes, pushing as hard as he possibly could, knowing, or at least thinking, an attack might well come from Ortola behind, but he'd done enough in that final sector to eke out enough of an advantage to roll through the final corner, see the checkered flag, and celebrate in Parc Fermé. So here we go then, here are the final results. Joel Kelso in the end, 3/10 clear of Ivan Ortola. David Munoz backed off on the final lap to take an important 3rd place and another podium. Colin Vieira, best result of the year for him in 4th, ahead of Josito Garcia, Luca Lunetta, Zonta van den Gorberg, Mario Adje and Spain's David Salvador. Look at that, the fight from 4th to 9th, split by only a second. Josh Watley, the Brit, takes another top 10 finish ahead of Diogo Moreira, Adrian Cruzes, Raffaele Fusco, Shona Shimura and Sairufaddin Azman, fresh from his World Championship debut at Aragon 1 week ago. He takes the final point, does the Malaysian, with David Alonso having started on the front row of the grid, eventually finishing outside of the points. A disaster for the Red Bull rookie champion. Jose Antonio Rueda, he finishes 19th. Of course, he took pole in Aragon the last time we were in action with Takuma Matsuyama. He qualified 4th and eventually came across the line in 20th. A disappointment for him as well. The final finisher, Marcos Ruda, with Detweiler, Farioli, Holgardo, importantly, crashing out in this one. David Munoz comes out to take 3rd. A 4th consecutive podium finish, his 5th of the year. It's a 5th podium for Ivan Ortola as well, and Joel Kelso jumps onto the top of the box for only the 2nd time in his career. Xavi Artigas, of course, won multiple races in this class. Now with Leopard Racing, hands over the team trophy to the AGR squad. They've got experience of championships, of course, winning it with Pons in Moto2 a few years ago. Pedro Acosta, the Moto3 World Championship leader, hands over the 3rd place trophy for David Munoz. Ortola collects 2nd place, 43 points adrift. He's still in that fight for the championship. But it's celebrations for Joel Kelso. Victory here at the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, in brilliant fashion. And to celebrate, the Australian national anthem will ring loud and proud here. But first, €400 courtesy of Repsol. Thank you very much indeed. Naranjito celebrates victory here in Misano. Originally from Darwin, Australia, now of Mallorca. Sprays the bubbly on the podium. And I'm sure there's another man in MotoGP hoping to hear that Australian national anthem again on Sunday afternoon. But for now, it's Kelso's moment in the Rimini sunshine. Of course, being 18 years of age, he's able to actually get the champagne, whereas David Munoz, to his left, only 15, it's the fizzy water for him. So here are the highlights then. Off the line, it was David Munoz from pole position, who instantly moved over to the right-hand side, and there was a dramatic collision between himself and the pole man. And the man, on the outside of the front row of the grid, Joel Kelso. It wasn't to affect Kelso though, as he quickly got his head down and started to stretch the group at the front. Ortola looked to go with him, with Holgardo also chasing as well. It was a disaster for Holgardo's teammate, Scott Ogden, as he was involved in a collision with Danny Munoz. And then we had a leading group of 4. Kelso leading away from Ortola, Holgardo and Munoz. It was a high-speed chess game for a number of laps. Before then, drama struck as the championship leader, Holgardo, crashed out of 3rd. The first mistake of the season for the young Spaniard, with Munoz, his closest title rival, watching him going down, knowing what an opportunity had come his way. Further back, the battle for 4th was absolutely hectic. A whole host of riders in the mix, with 4th in the end going the way of Colin Vire. 2.5 laps remained when suddenly it sparked into life at the front. Munoz finding his way through on Ortola, and then Kelso made a mistake, allowing the Spaniard to hit the front. Ortola didn't wait long to bite back though, taking the lead for the first time just moments later. And Kelso was looking to regroup as well as he swooped through to take 2nd. And then on the final lap, Ortola went defensive, but it didn't matter one jot as Kelso rolled around the outside and held onto it in the final sector to take victory number 2 in 2021. You can book those plane tickets to Portimao the Australian will be having a wild card ride thanks to that victory.